good afternoon. We acknowledge that we are in the traditional lands of the Blackfoot Nations, which includes the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, as well as the Iyethka, Nakota, Wiskata Bay Nations of Chiniki, Bearspaw, Goodstoney, and the Tsuut'ina Nation. Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, including the Battle River Territory. We recognize and thank all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who have lived on and cared for this land for generations. Thank you for joining us. Today we have an update on the Bearspaw South Feeder Main. We will be hearing from General Manager of Infrastructure Services, Michael Thompson, and Mayor Jeremy Farkas. We will hear their remarks and then there will be an opportunity to ask questions after. I will now turn the podium over to General Manager of Infrastructure Services, Michael Thompson.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Thompson, General Manager of Infrastructure Services. I'm happy to announce that we are in the final stages of the Feeder Main Reinforcement Project. Thank you, Team Calgary. The actions that you, along with our neighbors in Airdrie, Chestermere, Strathmore, and Tsuut'ina Nation have taken to reduce water use have been critical in getting us to this point. Today I will walk through what happened over the weekend, where we are at, and what the next few days look like. As we move closer to starting the flow of water through the pipe, your continued actions to reduce water use are a key factor in our collective success. We started slowly filling the pipe on Friday, and this step was completed by Sunday afternoon. On both Friday and Saturday, demand was well within the green zone, and even counting the water we used to fill the pipe. Yesterday, total water use was 500 million liters. However, that included 12 million liters to finish filling the pipe. The amount you used was squarely in the green zone. Thank you for continuing to take action. We are now sampling and testing water to make sure it meets or exceeds regulatory requirements. These tests take time, and this work is continuing throughout today. Once testing shows that the water is safe, teams will coordinate the opening of valves along the pipe and begin to turn on the pumps at the Bearspaw Water Treatment Plant. If everything goes as planned, we will turn on the pumps tomorrow, March 31st. When the pumps are turned on, you may notice cloudy water at your taps. This is temporary and will take around 24 hours to clear. The water is safe to drink. Once the pumps are on, we will monitor the pipe to ensure it is stable. If any issues arise, we will stop and evaluate the situation. Our priority is ensuring the safety of your drinking water. If everything is going well, water restrictions could lift as early as Thursday, April the 2nd. And in spite of the snow, we plan to start repaving our work sites on 16th Avenue today. Public safety remains a key focus for us. As I've said before, the work over the last 3 weeks reinforced 9 segments of the pipe, identified as being in the worst condition. While this work improved stability on those 9 specific segments, the existing feeder main is still terminally ill. The solution to our problem is the replacement pipe, which we will continue to build throughout the rest of this year. I was on site on Friday talking with the crews working on the replacement pipe project. They understand the importance of the work they are doing for our community. While we have many months of work ahead, I'm happy to report that we are on schedule. I want to give a huge thank you to the crews working on that project. It was really inspiring to see how well they are working and the progress they've made in such short order. Now, because the existing pipe is still terminally ill, there is increased risk of another break during pressure changes in the pipe, especially when we turn on the pumps and we begin to increase the water flow through the pipe. Right now, we expect this to take place starting tomorrow morning. As we did in January, we are taking extra precautions in the areas nearest to the pipe. This is out of an abundance of caution and intended to mitigate potential risk to the community. Some of these precautions have remained in place since January when we restarted water flow through the pipe following the December 30th pipe break. For instance, 2 segments of flood barrier along Montgomery Boulevard Northwest were removed. The flood barrier was installed to protect the community from river flooding, but if the pipe were to break, the flood barrier would actually prevent water from flowing to the river. So we created 2 openings to protect the community should there be a pipe break. Temporary barriers were installed along the Bow River pathway near Parkdale Boulevard Northwest in January and are still in place today. In this case, the barriers between the pipe and nearby buildings and would direct water to the river should a pipe break occur again in this location. We are also taking additional steps to help manage water flow and reduce potential impacts in the next few days as we start the flow of water through the pipe again. This includes clearing catch basins, opening river outflows, and replacing select manhole covers so water can drain more quickly if needed. A staging area is being set up in the Shouldice Athletic Park to house pumps and equipment that can quickly be deployed again if needed. We have been working with first responders who are aware of our timing and prepared to assist. This is a precaution to ensure a rapid response if required. And we continue to closely monitor the pipe for early indicators of potential issues. Again, we are taking these steps as a precautionary measure only. Our intent is to be prepared and transparent with the affected communities. And as part of our ongoing increased pipe inspection program, we will be inspecting the existing steel feeder main coming out of the Bearspaw Water Treatment Plant. The inspection will use a specialized mechanical tool called a pipe diver. The team has been preparing for the inspection with the pipe out of service and will conduct the inspection once water is again flowing through the pipe. The inspection is currently planned to take place around April 9th to the 11th. To remove the pipe diver after the inspection, we will need to temporarily stop the flow of water through the pipe and drain some water out. Once we have retrieved the pipe diver, we will need to fill the pipe back up and conduct water testing before restarting the pumps. Because of the short timeline, this should be possible without restrictions. However, if something unexpected occurs, there is a chance we will need to put restrictions temporarily back in place. We want people to be aware of that now so there are no surprises in the future. As we get closer to April 9th, we will confirm the next steps and share clear information in advance about what to expect. The reinforcement work is intended to reduce the risk of another break before the new pipe is operational in December. The reinforcement work was timed deliberately before the start of the growing season, but when the flow of the Elbow River is high enough for the Glenmore Reservoir to quickly refill. We are not planning additional water restrictions until the fall, when we will need to shut down the pipe again to connect the new pipe to the water system. However, as we have experienced, the pipe can break without warning. Until the new pipe is operational in December, we will be living with the risk that this existing pipe can break at any time. It's important that as Team Calgary, we stay ready. This means following the city's social media channels, local news, and downloading the Alberta Emergency Alert app to your phone. It also means planning ahead. Even though we woke up this morning to a snowy start to the week, as the weather warms in the coming weeks and we start thinking about spring and summer, one idea is to consider setting up a rain barrel. The city's Rain Barrel Rebate Program opens this Wednesday, April 1st. Through this program, you can be eligible for a $50 rebate on the purchase of a rain barrel. This is a great alternative to using drinking water in your garden and your yard. I encourage you to check out details at calgary.ca/rainbarrel for more details regarding this rebate program. We are now in what we hope is the final stretch of this phase of work, focused on flowing water through the pipe and closely monitoring how the pipe responds. Over the coming days, crews will continue moving through these final steps in a measured and deliberate way. Safety and stability remain our top priority. Your continued actions to reduce water use are helping make this possible, and they continue to matter as much today as they did on March the 9th. We will continue to share updates as we have more information. For the latest information, please visit calgary.ca/savewater. Again, thank you, Team Calgary. And thank you to the teams on the ground, the operators in the plants, the field crews working across the water system, and the teams in the water center coordinating, planning, and working to deliver this essential service. We truly have an integrated team working together to carry out this work carefully and safely. I genuinely appreciate everyone's commitment and dedication. I'll now turn it over to Mayor Farkas.
Thank you very much, GM Thompson. And as we mentioned last week, we have to repeat a giant thank you to each and every Calgarian who's demonstrated time and time again that you're committed to Team Calgary's success. We've been in an impossibly frustrating situation since the water main broke on December 30th, which demonstrated just how bad a shape the Bearspaw South Feeder Main is really in. And then we're very thankful to the many Calgarians who stepped up and reduced their water use as we doubled down on our efforts to get the replacement pipe built, as well as to make these planned repairs to the critical sections of the pipe. You've given our crews the time to get this work done and to get it done quickly. And a look through the window outside reminds all of us just how challenging a Calgary spring can be when you're working outside. And I want to take this moment to recognize each and every person who has worked on this project. You have the thanks of an entire city. As we see the end of the line in sight and we move full steam ahead towards lifting water restrictions, and I should say, GM Thompson, thank you as well to your team. You've all done a great job over the last several weeks. It's incumbent on us to remind Calgarians that even when these planned repairs are completed, we are still at a risk of failure along other sections of the 6-kilometer pipe. And that means even though we're very nearly done with these reinforcements, what we really need to do is get the new pipe up and running. And we are doing that at a faster pace than anything we have ever done here in Calgary before. And we are on track to see a 4-year project completed in less than 1 year. A 4-year project completed in less than 1 year. And again, that is because of the diligent hard work of our crews and the leadership we're seeing from everyone who makes up Team Calgary. And so, with the end in sight, I hope to be sharing some very good news with you very soon. But until then, we need to double down on focus on this last stretch to make sure that we're limiting the number of times we are running our washing machine or dishwasher, waiting, of course, for full loads, that we are only flushing only when necessary, and that we are limiting our showers, yes, even showers with radio hosts, to 3 minutes or less. Thank you, Calgary. Each and every day, as we have walked through this challenge together, it has reminded me how privileged I am to be your mayor. This really is the greatest city, not just in Canada, but anywhere in the world. Thank you, and we're happy to answer your questions. I think we've stumped them, Michael. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you again on Thursday.